My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Nunas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And today, we're going to talk about a new Netflix show that we recently started, that has also recently started on Netflix. A nice medical drama for all of us. But before we get into that, what has everyone been watching? And I know we've all been watching because
we have nothing else to do.
Yeah, we got a bit of time on our hands. Dude, what have we all been watching?
Well, I finally finished Prince of Tennis because, I decided I had to. It was my gym treadmill show, so that's why it was taking me so long, because I don't go to the gym that often. But now I can't go to the gym, so I'm like, and then Skate into Love was starting, and I was like, okay, I have to get this other Chinese sports show done before I start the new Chinese sports show. So I pushed through. It was super boring at the end. There was too much sports and not enough relationship in that drama. They set up all kinds of cute little relationships and then did not follow through on any of them. Spent a lot of time queer baiting on the doubles couple. And,
Boo.
it was kind of interesting. It was maybe not queer baiting exactly. It was almost more of the Chinese gay but not gay kind of, we're trying to get it past the censors sort of thing. Mm-hmm. They very much did a whole thing where this doubles was almost like a metaphor for a married couple. They went through a kind of midlife crisis of their relationship and then came back, and it was very old married couple, and you're like, okay, you're a couple of guys in high school playing sports. Let's chill it out. Just
calm
a
down.
little bit.
It's high school sports. Let's chill out.
Just maybe relax. So, yeah. But, otherwise, it was enjoyable. It just really shouldn't have been 40 episodes long.
Oh, jeez.
It was too many. It was too much, too many, especially when you're, in the last 5 episodes, they start introducing characters from other schools, and I'm supposed to care about the other rival school, and so no, you have 15 characters already, just play with them for a while. It was, at the end it was okay, they're just sad and lonely, but whatever. It was still cute, it was still enjoyable. I just kind of wound up fast forwarding through some of the sports by the end, so. But then I did start Skate into Love, which is very much adorable, and seems to be striking cute. A better balance. It's got a lot of sports. It's got hockey, speed skating, figure skating, and then these two other a side couple who are trying to find their thing. So they've joined the rollerblading club, but they're horrible. So then they quit. And they're, so they're trying to find a thing. So I think we're going to see them trying lots of different sports, which might be fun. But so far it's cute, and it is striking that balance between sports and relationship and giving you enough of both to be fun and cute. So I like that. But it's another 40 episode one. So we'll see. I may be bored in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So who knows where that will go.
I started The Memorist. I don't think I'm going to stick with it. It's a little dark for me. So it's interesting. It's funny. It's well shot. And if you like scary and creepy, then hey, cool.
Yeah.
But not for me. So
you're speaking my language.
I was thinking about it, but I want to binge it. I don't want to wait for
Same.
episodes.
That's why I'm waiting.
Yeah.
That's why I'm waiting.
It's got a little bit, not quite to the same extent, but it's a little bit like Strong Woman in the sense that it's got sort of the funny is sillier, and then the dark is dark, and you're whoa, sometimes I'm just hold on, that was a lot that we just, big roller coaster ride that I'm taking right now. So, and since my life is a bit of a stay-at-home roller coaster ride right now,
you don't need that.
So,
you don't need that in your life right
now. Walk away, I think. But on the side of things that I am very much enjoying, still watching Five Enough with my sister. However, this week our, Sunghoon Sundays had to happen over Hallyucast, which wasn't great, but it's not bad. It's not as great as Rabbit, but it got the job done. So we're gonna play around with it a bit and see if we can make it work better.
You could do like old school, like 1, 2, 3, let's play now. Just be on the phone.
It was kind of funny. Like her husband walked into the room and he's like, "What are you doing?" Because she's talking to me because I can hear her, but my mic wasn't working. Like she had me muted or something. She couldn't figure out how to take me off mute, so I couldn't talk to her. So I had to type back to her. But she's just talking. So she's sitting in the room and her husband's like, "What are you doing, honey?"
She's like, it's like, has quarantine affected you? Have you told you much?
She worried.
She's like, "But I'm watching it with Amanda and she can hear me." And he's like, and I'm like, "Hey, Phil." And he's like, and she's like, she says hi, and he's like, "Crap. Okay, I'm going somewhere else. Bye." No, but I still love it. It's super cute, and right now, because she doesn't have to get the kids up in the morning for school, and neither do I, we can stay up later and watch more episodes. So yay for that, because it's a
gotta keep going with those like small silver linings, right?
Right.
Really? So, no, let me tell you, no one in this house sleeps in but me.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I've been watching Together as well, which is cute and fun, and I like it. But, oddly, despite being at home all the time, I don't get to watch that much because the kids are on all the screens all the time, and the husband is working from home, and he's using up all the bandwidth for work stuff, and So, I mean, again, silver lining, I'm reading more. So there you go.
There.
And I started painting again, and I have played 5 games of Catan this week, so.
Ooh boy.
There's going to be some heated, like, competitions in your house.
We're
a scoreboard.
Literally keeping a leaderboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm, like, really not competitive at all.
Yeah.
But they make me play Trouble and Crazy Eights, and they're all so competitive.
They're rubbing off on you?
No, it's not. It's like, because like
makes you not want to play. I bet.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, whoa, geez, like, why is everyone getting so excited to like support me? Like, because Matthew and I mostly play like cooperative board games, like Arkham Horror and like Pandemic and topical, and those sort of things. And so like these like they're getting like real into it, and I'm like, like, go calm down. It's just a game of Trouble. Chill out.
Well, I have to take my 14-year-old aside and say to him, like, listen, like, I think the second game, he completely destroyed his little brother. Like his little brother had like 3 points when he won with 15.
Like, listen, kid gonna learn today.
I said, you know what?
Survival of the fittest.
You just need to take back a notch. The kid is 8. Like, just chill out on him a little bit. I said, do you understand that when you were 8, Mommy and Daddy let you win a lot of the times because we knew what you were doing and we saw it, but we pretended we did not see your plan because we wanted to have fun playing board games as a family. You are making this not fun for anybody. So stop. Like, stop. Just let him play the game and stop being a jerk. And he was like, ooh, you're getting all mean at me, and I'm not being a jerk. I'm just playing the game the way that it's meant to be played.
And you're like,
yes. I bet if Jesus played board games with his brothers,
did he?
I was like, oh my Lord.
Like, I don't know. I remember Jesus flipping some tables, but like Jesus may have flipped some tables, but it wasn't over who won at Catan, okay?
Just make him read the Bible and like develop an exam, an essay on it.
Tell me
Where? Tell me.
Where
Give
is
me
Jesus
the report.
Playing board
The
games?
report.
Where?
And then we'll work.
Board game theology. Like,
Yeah.
go.
It's like, well, Jesus would have let his little brother win a couple games. Because that would be
Would've
the
been
nice thing to do.
Don't bring Jesus into this.
Like, there's no room for Jesus in Catan.
Oh, yeah. That's been my time. How about you, Jessie?
Well, I had time, so I've been actually watching stuff. Finally. So,
Hey.
Silver linings.
Yeah, right. I finished 2 shows so far. So today I just finished the last half of God's Quiz, the reboot, the season 5.
Nice.
Which I had put off for a while because I had been watching it when it was airing. Then my computer wasn't letting me watch any version of it whatsoever for a really long time, like for a month. And then it kind of just became a thing where I was like, I'll just put it off for later. And I finally did. And it was good. I still like the first couple of seasons the best, but I think, like, especially with the time, not that there's a time jump in the show, but, like, there was an actual time jump between season 4 and season 5. Like, I think it's, like, 4 or 5 years between the two.
Wow.
So I think they did a good job of kind of bringing that back, and there was, like, characters that had been there throughout the entire series, so it's nice to kind of see those characters. I also watched, like, within, like, a day and a half, the J-drama Repeat, which is the actual original of the K-drama that's airing right now, 365 Repeat. I had wanted to watch it before 365, and then I just thought I wasn't going to be able to do that because I thought I was going to be still working right now. And so I had, like, planned it, like, I was like, oh, I'll just, like, hold it off on doing it and, like, binge it when 365 was done. But then even when I muted that tag, people were still talking about it, and I didn't want to, like, ruin the J-drama because of that. I mean, now that I've seen all of Repeat and the, like, first 2 seasons or first 2 days of the 365, it's literally just a slight adaptation, so I don't have to worry about it because they're kind of not the same. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't, like, super perfect because it has some, like, hairy things that go on, and you kind of, like, it's a time travel show. They make things happen and thing. But, like, I enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was, like, really great the entire time I was watching. I was like, this is actually a really fun show to be watching. I like the character storylines, based on, because again, I did watch the first 2 episodes, or technically 4 episodes, and it's half-hour long episodes of 365 Repeat. I might actually legitimately like the J-drama better than what's going on in 365, because there's a lot of, like, stuff going on, and it's, like, kind of like, if you don't want all that filler, you can go to the Repeat. And I just like the tone of the J-drama is a little bit more, wasn't intriguing, because you, like, legitimately didn't know what was going on, like, at all, for anything, not just even, like, how things were playing out. You're like, I just don't even, just, like, the mundane things, you're like, I don't even know what's going on. It could go anywhere, it could do whatever. So yeah, I liked it. But 365 is good enough that I'm going to keep on watching it. I like the cast, and especially if they're going to keep doing things differently, because there's already some stuff that they've put out that, like, things I'm like, it can't go the way that went. So there's gonna be more, like, it's gonna be intriguing to watch 365 Repeat, even though I, like, know the story of the other one. So that was like a good binge. I really liked it, but also I really like binging J-drama, so that was fun. Since the last time we talked about things that we were watching, I finally was able to watch When the Weather is Fine. The weather is nice. Come to you, whatever. I really, 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 really like that show a lot. Again, I really like the tone because it's really quiet. I love the slowness of it. Like, that's, like, perfect for me. It also reminds me of 12 Nights, and I really love 12 Nights. It was, like, one of my favorite dramas that year, so I'm really enjoying that. I also picked up Nobody Knows, which is the crime drama with Rudolph Hahn, who was in God's Quiz too. So I was having a marathon of his shows. And Nobody Knows is spectacular. If you like crime dramas, definitely pick that up. Like, the acting in it is incredible. The storyline's incredible. It's like probably going to be one of my favorite dramas of the year, how it's going so far. I think I'm like 2 episodes behind on stuff, but like it's been so good, and everybody's so good in it too. Like, the acting is just so good. I also started Followers, which is the J-drama on Netflix. I'm about halfway through the series. It's pretty good. It's definitely not a show that like I like enough to binge, but I wouldn't say it's like a terrible show by any means. Like, it's good. And I like the way that it represents the characters, because the show, it focuses on a girl who's like trying to make it in acting, and like a younger girl, and she's struggling, and then this really well-known photographer who's like rich, and everybody knows her, and they play up the 2 characters. Like, so you see the younger girl and her group of friends, and how she deals with like, you know, that sort of thing, and being young, and then like the opposite end of the spectrum with the woman who's like rich, and she has all the friends and the money and stuff, but like plays it together really nicely to kind of like contrast the 2 of them. So it's like really interesting to watch because of that. But it's also on Netflix too, so it's a J-drama on Netflix. Everybody can watch it, so you should watch it. And then the only other thing besides the episode we watched for today is this show. I don't know what it's called. What is it called? It's a J-drama that I picked up. It's not that great, but like the person who's subbing it's like one of those like throwaway shows that she's like, or they are only subbing every once in a while, and so like I like watch one episode, and then it's like 3 weeks before the next episode comes. So it's like, I guess if I had it all, I'd probably just ditch it if that was the case. But since I can watch like in brief sections, I'm like, okay, I can live with the craziness of it. It is called, let's see, I brought it up, Legendary Mother. And it's about,
I saw the first episode or whatever of that one. Yeah.
Did you like it? It's like,
it's very odd.
It's like, I would describe it as if you were at a Ren fair and people got bored, and so then they made a YouTube series.
Yeah.
The show, like, so it's about like a girl who's like a witch in this kind of like fairy tale land, and she's married with a kid, like a baby, and then she gets called upon because like the devil or whatever has come back, and she was part of the last like crusade to get this thing together, and so she's one of the top like warriors for this, but she has like a baby. And
childcare issues were like
an incompetent like husband, because like he loses his job, and you like see like she literally goes to try to get the kid into childcare at one point, and you're like, what is going on? And but like it's just like you kind of feel like everybody's like having a lot of fun with it, so like it doesn't seem as terrible because people are just like generally like having fun. It's not like they're given this really bad script and you can tell that they're just like, it's a paycheck, I have to get through it.
Yeah.
But these are just things, but
it's kind of like, is it intentional camp? It's not really even camp. It's like it's tough to describe.
It definitely is like focusing in on like old school like first Final Fantasy, like RPG, like 8-bit RPG, because the way that it's set up, like they do some things that are obviously like for the story, but also so they don't have to like do these big things, like when they encounter like, because the way that like it ends up, she has to bring her kid along with her to this adventure, and like they like end up like walking through the woods and then like find a villain or whatever, and so then like so they don't have to like show them like battling this like crazy monster, you know, and like put in the CGI of the monster. They just like put up some animation like it's an 8-bit like RPG, so then they like, you know, you'll see them like from the head view because that's all you can see. So they do that.
Mint.
And
Yeah.
it's just wacky, and it's like 20 minutes long episodes. I'm like, whatever, I'm here. It's just, it's a show.
You're like, it's the type of show where you're like, I'm having a rough time right now, and this show for 20 minutes completely takes my mind off of the real world.
I don't know what I'm watching. It's not very good, but I also don't have to think about it, and like, it's strangely endearing, and the kid who plays the baby is adorable and like has the best reactions like ever. So you just like watch the kid and you're like, that kid is actually acting, and he's like a year old.
You're like, man, that kid is the best actor on this whole show. That 1-year-old.
Well, I think a small, tiny example in that show, like, to know if you would like to watch it or not. So, like, when she was having childcare issues, she wanted to take her kid to, like, her mom's house, her mom's farm, but her mom's farm was kind of far away. And, okay, she's a witch or like a wizard or whatever she is. So all of a sudden she's like, oh, I'll magic him to my mom.
Basically.
Of course this doesn't work out. It ends up the kid pops up at like the local news station.
Yeah, no, she's watching the cooking. Like, it was like a local.
Oh, it's a cooking show.
The cooking show.
And so, you know, in this RPG land, there's a cooking show, and so all of a sudden her kid's on the cooking show, and then she has to go get her baby from the cooking. So, like, that's an example of like, if that's charming to you, that would be that type of stuff.
Yeah, it's a show, you know.
Yep.
It's a show.
Listen,
it is what it is.
I don't have a job. I can't go outside. What else am I supposed to do here? Like, I'm going to be watching these types of shows now.
Welcome to the unemployed club. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's it. That's, you know. It's only been a week.
Has it though? Has it not been 5 years?
No,
oh my god, it feels like it's like 8 years.
I've been here for 2 weeks, and it's just days have no more meaning. Like,
they really don't.
Literally started like scratching the days off the calendar on the fridge. I never used to do that, but like now I have to so that I can remember what day it is.
Like if my phone, when I turn it on, didn't already just tell me what day of the week it is, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm always looking up at like my computer. I'm like, okay, it says Thursday. Okay.
Well, today I was telling my coworker, I'm like, oh, we have to go to the pharmacy on Saturday because I'm almost out of pills. Oh, that's a whole other thing. I'm not even gonna get into this, but about me trying to get pills in another province without a prescription. Anyway.
I'm gonna cut in for 2 seconds. When I told my husband that you were stuck, he immediately was like, is she able to get her prescriptions? For some reason, that was like his thing he was concerned about.
Your husband is so sweet. Well, everyone is concerned about it, but we did call the pharmacy, and they were like, no problem. We can like give her like a 2 months prescription, like just from the pharmacist until she gets back home. Because I'm like, mint. Because the week after I was supposed to get back home, I had a doctor's appointment to go renew my prescription for the next year. Like, it's up. This is like, anyway, whatever. So I was like, yeah, like we gotta go on Saturday. And she was like, Saturday's tomorrow. And I was like, no, it's not. It's Thursday today. And she was like, oh no, what's happened? What have I been watching? Oh boy. I've been watching a lot because I don't sleep. I'm not in my own house. So what do? You lie in the guest bedroom and watch stuff on your phone. So I've been watching, so there's a couple Thai dramas that are currently airing. Not Tharn Type for the first time ever. Why Are You, the series, which, hot tamale, holy spicy, that last episode. I felt like I was watching something I shouldn't be watching, if you know what I mean. It's like a really cute, hot mess of a show. Like, the plot of the show doesn't really make that much sense, and like it's edited really weird, but like you keep watching it because the 4 main leads are so cute that you're just like, okay,
All
like
right.
I'm fine with this. Like they're adorable. And then I'm also watching Together with the number 2 Together, the series, and that is mint. Like that show is real good.
So
They both update on Fridays. Together is on YouTube on GMM TV for free. And Why Are You is also for free, but it's online TV, so you got to go to their Twitter, and then every day on Fridays they post the link, blah 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 blah. So I've convinced my coworker's husband Phil to watch Kingdom.
Ooh.
So he's loving it. So we're watching that, and then after that we're gonna watch Train to Busan because like he loves zombie stuff, and then after that we're gonna watch Voice. Like we got a lot of time on our hands right now. We're just a bunch of unemployed bums living in the basement at his wife's house. So then, what else? Okay, so I have also been watching some Japanese dramas because what do you do when there's a pandemic? You watch some Japanese dramas.
obviously.
So there is now a Japanese remake of You Are My Destiny, or Fated to Love You as it's called in Korea, and it is basically a shot-for-shot remake but in Japanese. And then I also yesterday binged the entirety of one called Koi wa Zuku yo Doko Midmo, which was just like a really cute, innocent nurse doctor romance. It was real cute.
Is that the one that's on the timeline a lot these days?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think I've
it's
seen
like
that.
it's really cute.
Is he very tsundere?
Yeah, but like he's not a dick about it. Like you know how there's some like tsunderes who you're just like, fuck this guy. like for example, like Playful Kiss or what's it, Mischievous Kiss, that's the Japanese version. Like you're just like, this guy's just a dick. Like no. But like this guy actually is like not that much. Like he's a dick at work. So like when he's working, he's a dick. Except to patients. He's really nice to patients. And then when he's not at work, he's sort of like quiet, but like he's not a bad guy. Like he's not mean. He's not mean to the main lead. I think that's the important part, is that a lot of times they think tsundere means mean to the main female. No, he's not.
Well,
and like and she like a lot of the times the female leads are kind of annoying because they're like, oh, we do anything to just, I'm an idiot, but she's actually like wants to be good at her job too. So it's like, it's not just like, oh, I became a nurse to find this doctor guy, which is basically the plot, is she becomes a nurse after she falls in love at first sight with this doctor. But then she legitimately wants to be like a good nurse. So like she tries really hard at her job and is pretty smart and like good at it. So that one's pretty fun. There is a third J drama, but I'm gonna wait till I finish because I think Sky and I have a few words to say about the final J drama. I also, before I get to that though, I also finished Itaewon Class. Very satisfying ending. Ooh, the way they, that last episode, I was like, oh, no. So good. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Sure, there were like parts in the drama, like any drama, that I'm just like, okay, let's tapping on the old clock, move along. But like for the most part, that drama was solid. Finally, Sky and I recently together watched.
Well, not together.
Not together, but at the same time.
Yeah.
Watched this Japanese drama called This Man Is the Worst Mistake of My Life.
I think it's this guy, but whatever.
This guy, whatever.
Oh,
Like the Japanese title, which is very long, is Kono otoko wa jinsei saidai no ayamachi desu.
I'll also have another blog post if you really need it. So.
Yeah. Now, I keep trying to explain the plot of this drama to people. There's not. It takes, the first episode takes you on a real roller coaster that you never get off for the rest of the show. And it's not like a thrill ride. Let's just say this. So basically what happens is this girl, she's sad that her dog died. Very sad. She's at a bar crying over her dead dog. Then there's this guy at the bar who's like, it's just a dog. So she trips him and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I did that on purpose. And then she's like, you're a piece of shit. Like, you don't even know. This dog was like my best friend. He was my only family member. And like, he, I wish that like, there was medicine that could have saved him, but there wasn't. And you're an asshole for telling me that he doesn't matter. So the next day she goes to work where she's a temp accountant at a pharmaceutical company. And all of a sudden she realizes, hey, the guy's picture who's the CEO of my company looks an awful lot like that dude that I just like told off and like knocked down on his ass in the middle of that bar the other night. So then she gets called to the president's office and she's like, oh shit, he found out it's me. I'm going to get fired. I done messed up. Oh no. So she goes up to the office and then all of a sudden the CEO is there and she's trying to like apologize, like, oh, I was drunk, like, I was drunk and sad, please don't hold it against me. Anyway, he then like lies down on the floor and is like, be mean to me more. I love it when you're mean to me. And then you're like, oh, no.
It's like, I want to be your slave. Like, just.
Yeah. And you're just like, oh no, no. So then the whole show then follows her trying to get him to just go away. Just go away. Just go away. And him just being like, please be mean to me again. Please hit me harder, my princess. And she's like, you're so creepy.
She legit says, he's creeping me out. He's creeping.
Like all the time she's like, you're creeping me out. Will you just leave me alone? And he's like, oh, I love it when you tell me I'm creeping you out. And she's like, no, I'm not, like, this isn't a sexual thing. Like, you're legitimately. But like, you would think that in a normal show, he would learn to strike a balance. There would be a plot, like an arc, a character arc where
there were times that she learned his past, which explains some things. But that's really the extent of the arc. There was no arc.
Yeah, there was no arc. Like, he learns nothing by the end of the show. At the end of the show, he is still creeping her out, and she is still like, you're creeping me out. Will you just fucking leave me alone? And he's like, my princess, my master, let me be your slave, kick me harder. And you're just like, no.
In between, she meets his, like, colleague, best friends from forever.
Who's, like, the best.
One of which is, like, a really quiet, introverted, awesome doctor who saves everybody all the time.
And who also has a cute chihuahua.
And she loves the dog, like, and So
he falls in love with her, and then she like basically
kind of does too.
But then like turns him down.
But we're spoiling too much. But anyway,
I'm sorry.
I vote to not watch it.
Like, okay, we've recommended many a Japanese drama on this show. This is not one. So I will admit, we got a lot of time looking forward, and maybe a lot of people out there have a lot of time on their hands. You might want to watch something a little fucked up. And if that's the case, oh boy, is this show for you, my dude.
What it really felt like, especially by the end, was a restraining order should have happened in the first episode.
She just quit. She was only a temp worker. She could have found another job.
Right.
Like, walk away.
Like, I'm not joking. Really, at the end of it, legit, like, a restraining order needed to happen a long time ago.
No, like at this, like, the show could have been, like, renamed, like, Red Flags. Like, that's all it was this dude just red flag everything. Like, it did, okay, I will admit, though.
Blame her, because it's not like she was ever pursuing him.
No.
Despite flag.
No way.
No way.
And, like, the thing is, it's like, the show does have, like, funny moments. So, like, so it actually stars the guy from Absolute Boyfriend. the Japanese absolute boyfriend, and like his physical comedy is like it is like he is doing his best to bring.
He's so super tall.
Yeah, and like he's doing his best to bring this real messed up character to like a comedic level that if he wasn't so good at physical comedy, this would be a horror show. But like, this would be a crime drama, not a comedy.
He's able to pull it off. It's light. It's very light. It's never scary by any means.
Like she never like fears for her life. Like there's never like a this guy's gonna kill me, but like it's more like this guy needs to just leave me alone. Like this guy is driving me insane. And you're just like, oh, girl.
But we were intrigued by the end. I really was like, wow, there was zero growth by like anybody.
Yeah, by anyone. By anyone.
That's like the first drama I've watched with no growth whatsoever. Good job, guys. Like
literally everyone ends up where they began in the beginning.
Not in a clever, cute way. Because sometimes dramas kind of do that.
So, Sky, what besides that have you been enjoying of late?
So my two favorites right now are Hyena and Weather's Fine. Hyena, I'm not sure I would have ever been able to peg that would be a show that I would really, really enjoy if I had to guess about me. But like, I love it a lot. I really enjoy it. I think also because I wouldn't call it physical. It is kind of physical comedy. There's physical, like a lot of facial expression comedy. Like they communicate a lot just through their expressions. When it's dramatic, but also when it's funny. And I love that. And so their chemistry the two leads' chemistry isn't always like during a tense whatever moment. It's also just during funny stuff. And so I really enjoy that. To me, it's a rom-com. Probably no one is ever going to peg that it's a rom-com on MDL, but it is a lawyer rom-com. Like that's what it is. So I love it. And it's very different. They're both very intense people, which is I like that a lot. So when the weather is fine, of course I love it. I like how sad it is, which is weird for me.
Oh, I love it so much. Oh, and the town is like my favorite part.
So adorable.
They're so quirky, but it's like not draining quirky. Like there's some shows that just like it just is like too much. They're just like lovable and sweet, and you're like, oh, this is nice.
Then like he's mysterious, but not in a weird like.
He's like mysterious because he doesn't want to talk to people, like, and then they don't like.
You make that a big thing that he's gonna turn out to be a serial killer. It's not that kind of mysterious.
No, he's serious because like, he doesn't want to talk to anyone. Yeah. That's different.
Yeah. So. Love it.
He still talks. Like, people like him, so, like, obviously.
Yeah.
He's liked.
I tried The Memorist, the first 2 episodes. I will probably try the next couple of episodes, but, yeah, to me, it wasn't as funny as I was expecting, which was fine. But just based on the poster, I think, those darn posters, they'll get ya.
Never.
Yeah, they always do.
Yeah. It was based on a webtoon, and because of the tone of the poster, that is why I was expecting a different level of funny. And so I was fine with that not being quite as much. But, yeah, the dark got super dark, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can handle this right now in life. Like,
yeah, exactly.
But it was so well done, and I like the actors. I'm like, we'll see. Like, I don't know. So I also, just because 'tis the season, I decided to start watching Vampire Idol.
Nice.
I thought you were gonna say like some Christmas show or something. I'm like, what are you doing?
Vampire Idol. It was about a week or 2 ago that I watched a few episodes of that. I haven't picked it up since then. I've been really erratic with my watching because life is that way. I don't recommend Vampire Idol whatsoever unless you just want to see certain actors be children, and really there's a lot of bad acting going on. So like, yeah, if you want to enjoy that type of stuff and some really odd alien vampireness, go for it. That's that's why I was enjoying it, because it's bad. It's dated. It's their costumes are pretty cool. I gotta give them that, but everything else is just really funny. Like, even they go to a sauna, and the main prince vampire guy, who has like 20 names, he still wears his cape around in the sauna. Like, that's the type of show you're dealing with. And in his 20 names are names like Dracula, Breaking Dawn, Eclipse. Like, they put all of those novel titles in his name. So
beautiful.
Okay.
that's why, like, the first episode I was crying, just because this exists. They got all these people to make this thing, and it is like a bazillion episodes long, and I have no idea how this occurred. Like, who allowed them? So many, like, bathroom jokes. I mean, like, I can't. Like, it's really... So, if you need an escape, oh boy, go for that one. I haven't touched A21 class in a while, because I held it off because I wanted to binge it, because I could tell I wasn't enjoying it as much waiting. I knew I was going to be frustrated with characters too much if I was quickly. So I got to episode 9, and I made myself stop, and I haven't been able to pick it back up. I will pick it back up sometime. I'm sure I will enjoy it. I just haven't had time to binge, so it's going to sit there until I can. I did try the first episode, or the first 2 30-minute episodes of 365 Repeat the Year. I enjoyed it. I did think tonally, at least the first episode was kind of weird, because it kind of went back and forth between, like, serious stuff and not serious stuff.
Yeah, it was very weird. But the second, the 3 and 4, the second day, it doesn't bring back the comedy. But it was like very weird, because the repeat is definitely not a comedy by any means. Not even a sprinkling. It's just like not.
They didn't need any of that comedy. And you know me, I really enjoyed it, but
it was very slapstick, and so then I was like, whoa, don't do this to this premise. I was really actually like,
you're like, oh, mistake is being made.
This is like not the show for this.
I don't think it's ever really appropriate for a show to have, like, multiple graphic murder scene type situations along with slapstick all the time.
Yeah,
like,
that too.
I agree.
That just could not be married together. Now, if you tone down the violence, maybe we can talk about that. But it's
especially
just
with it the same character, like.
Yeah, like, it was the same. It's like there was one comic character. It was the same dude. So, like, it didn't.
Yeah.
It feels irreverent at some point. It was fine. The specific show didn't go, like, way far. I'm just saying in general. I don't think that shows should put those two things together. And again, that's from. I love comedy, but, like, sometimes I don't think it's appropriate. So aside from that, I've watched a few movies the past month. I watched The Dude in Me. It has that. It has the second lead kid from My First Love in it. It was funny. It's essentially like a high schooler. Man, I can't even remember the premise. An older gangster guy and a high schooler, like, switch bodies. I'm always about body switching. Ever since Secret Garden, body switching, hilarious. I'll watch it. So it was funny. Beautiful Vampire. Watched that movie. It felt like it never quite got going. It was fine. It wasn't marvelous by any means. Life Risking Romance. Watched that. It was pretty good for what it was. It had a couple.
It was cute.
Turns. Yeah, like, I was fine with it. And aside from that, I'm trying to get back into anime little by little. So I've started the first couple of episodes of Cells at Work, and then I rewatched them with my husband because I thought he would enjoy that, and he thought it was really cute. So, yeah. I also watched Beastars because I like to.
Everybody's talking about it.
And it's not really, like, I'll probably always just watch it out of curiosity. It was well done and stuff. Tone-wise, it's not really my thing, but, like, we're in quarantine. This is what happens sometimes. So the episode that I watched of the show that we're going to watch, it took me a long time to watch because I've been watching things in small bits because life has been life recently for me. Even if I watch a movie or even if I try to watch, so like the 30-minute episode type stuff or the 20-minute episode type stuff, I can kind of get done. If like an hour, I'm probably going to be watching that in like 3 different sections, and like I can't help it. So watching Hospital Playlist, which we'll watch, was an hour and 22 minutes. So you can imagine how many bits it took me to watch. Don't enjoy it. It just means that life keeps on being like, you need to do this. Like, so.
Yeah. So that leads us to what we watched this week together, but apart. And that was the first episode of the new Netflix series, the Hospital Playlist. Before we get into this, just know that we love all our listeners. And listeners who really, really love us, go to our coffee at ko-fi.com/certifiednunas and send us a couple bucks here and there if they want to help keep this podcast running. Yeah, so if you want some behind, the extra stuff that gets cut out of the episode and often little side rants that go on for a while or that are usually amusing but have nothing to do with the topic at hand, coffee is the place to get them. So if you want to become an official sponsor of this podcast, go to ko-fi.com/certifiednunas. Now, on to Hospital Playlist. We all watched the first episode, so that's all we will be discussing. We will not be spoiling anything past the first episode.
Yeah. At this time, though, it's on episode 3. Like, the 3 just aired.
So they're doing one a week, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that for just a second.
Please do.
Because I saw a little excerpt from an interview, and I won't be able to tell you if it was the director or the writer or the producer. Somebody.
I think it was the director.
They were being very intentional about doing the one a week because they kind of just didn't. I'm trying to think of how he said it. He said it very well, and I'm going to botch it. But essentially, they knew they wouldn't be able to keep up with their record. Like, you know how the breakneck pace that they have to usually record in order to get 2 episodes a week. And they're like, we wouldn't be able to keep up. And so
I think he specifically talked about that because it was also big medical drama. That was already a big thing, and that was also a factor in wanting to not do more than one a week.
And at the very end of it, though, he did say he hopes that this kind of sets a precedent for at least some shows to consider going that route.
Yeah.
Because that would be a good thing, I think, for everybody involved. Like, that's pretty much what he was saying. And so I thought that was intriguing, but also, like, that's really true, because, like, if you think of the pace that they do have to record a lot of these dramas, like, it can be really unsafe or really difficult, so I thought it was really interesting.
Well, it was one thing when the dramas used to be, like, under an hour for every episode, but now, especially with like TVN, with this one, like they're pushing an hour and a half for every episode. Like that's 3 hours of TV a week. That's a lot to it's somebody to film basically a whole movie in a week. Like that's a lot.
Yeah, dialogue heavy stuff, not just like
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I wasn't a fan of the comedy in it. It was too, like, to me, it pushed too much comedy. Like, it wasn't, I just wanted a little less of the, like, it was on the edge of slapstick for me, and it was pulling me out of the drama too much, and it was, like, jarring to me.
It was a little too often, in my opinion. Like, even as someone who likes the comic side of it, I thought it was too often.
It just like, especially because, like, the first episode had so much that happened, the father dying, and, like, things are happening, and, like, there was, like, the storyline with the one kid they were trying to save a lot, and, like, that sort of thing. And particularly, I actually hated the storyline of him getting his head caught in the helmet. I think it,
Yeah,
it was so like, and it also was kind of terrible. And I like, since it's only been the first episode, I don't know like where his character's gonna go. And there's always a jerk character. The fact that he was this like surgeon and actually knew about stuff and was watching the TV, knowing that there was a massive accident happening, seeing the bodies pass by him, and still got mad that nobody was seeing him, and like actually went up to go like talk to a doctor by a patient's bed, because they wanted this to be a slapsticky like comedy thing, was like, actually, I was just like so mad at the show for doing that. Like it really was. I was like,
because like
that's not
otherwise
okay.
he seemed like a really sweet, kind
Yeah.
character.
If he had kept up being an asshole the entire time,
Mhm.
then you like, I still would have hated it, because it was obvious they were still pulling in the comedy, and I was like, this is not the time for the comedy. Like there was literally massive amounts of people coming into the ER like dying. Like he still like should have been a jerk the entire time if that's what you're gonna set up.
Yeah.
Because like
Right.
he wouldn't. There's no way that he would do that if he was a good person. Like if he was like the person that he is throughout the show, and you know, dropping everything to do a surgery, he wouldn't do that.
Even if they'd have made it more like, you guys got to get this helmet off my head so I can go help. Like, this stuff's going on. If you get this helmet off my head, I can go, you know, get in there and be helpful. Yeah.
Like, oh gosh.
I think a comedic moment that I thought was kind of inappropriate was like at the funeral when the friends are all on the eating side of the area, and they're watching their friend be in the receiving line, you know, over by the memorial part, and they make it to where they're like glaring over at him because they didn't know his familial whatever. Like they tried to make it really funny, when realistically it's like, now was not the time and place for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
If you guys save that for 2 days from now, fine. Like I probably would have laughed a lot, but it was obvious that their friend was actually like looking pretty serious. He came over to be by his friends and was being grateful, and then it's not like they ripped into him. They didn't make it really, really bad, but you could tell they tried to make it playful with how they were glaring at him and yada yada yada. It's like, this doesn't fit here, like, at all, especially for these types of people. Like, they wouldn't be doing that. Like, sorry, they wouldn't. Like,
well, and that's the first time that you see them all together. You know what I mean? Like, if we had already had that playfulness built up for us before that, it might not have felt the same way. But, like, for that to be the first time that you see them all together and get to experience, like, they have not built up that backstory for us at all at that point for us to be like, yeah, this is just how they are with each other. Like, so it feels like a weird place for it.
I did enjoy the comedy when it was kind of showing, like, how they got together, you know, them in college when they're, like, I thought that, like, worked with it. Like, it was that fit more natural, but, like, the show just, it was so drastic because the show is, like, trying to present itself as, like, a very kind of, like, quiet slice of life almost, but like also kind of like serious, and then immediately is like, I'm trying to be funny, and then come back to it and you're like, but I just want it to be one thing, and right now the majority of the show is not comedy. So I understand there can be comedy because like it can happen, and like it can, but it needed to be more natural. Like it needed to be just like everyday occurrence, or like one of those like comedy times when it's just like everybody's kind of like, it's the time to like be thankful for where you are in your like life, you know, that kind of like endearing comedy.
Found the opening half hour really dry to me. Like I was really, really bored in the first half hour. Like it felt to me like it was a lot of setup, which I kind of get, but it felt like it took too long for us to get to all of them together. I would have liked some all of them together stuff before we were halfway through the episode. Like, it just, because that's when it got interesting to me. I like them all together. I like watching them play off of each other and their interactions and stuff. But we didn't get any of that, and it kind of felt like that first half hour was sort of like an opening credit 5-minute montage. Like, could have given me kind of the same thing. Okay, these are the different jobs they do, and this is where they are, and okay, go. Funeral. Let's, like, move along.
I will admit that the scene where they're introducing all the siblings, I did get a
That
bit of a
was
chuckle
kinda
out of
funny.
that. I did
That
get a
was
bit of a
fun.
chuckle. It was like, why can't the oldest son? It's like, oh, he's busy with another job. And then he like comes in and like, and it's like, what about the other son? It's like, he too works for a higher power.
He works for really high power. Like, the way they worded it wasn't obvious.
Yeah,
So it was
Yeah.
pretty
just kept on
funny.
coming in.
And then when
Or-
if there's more siblings walk in as priests and nuns, you're like, come on.
I think a comedic part that I really enjoyed, and to me it totally fit the tone of the show, was the doctor being with his priest brother and, like, you know, pouring out all of his emotions, and pretty much his brother just listening and telling him, how about another year?
Yeah,
But like,
year.
it fit because it was funny, but
Yeah.
like you also saw the grief, you also saw that his brother
See,
was
that
there
was-
for, like,
So
it
it
fits.
has the potential to have this perfect sort of balance between
Mhm.
humor and, like, you know, seriousness, because that scene alone, like, at first it's all really sad, and then it's like 1 year previously, and it's literally the same thing in the same chicken shop with him in a different outfit, and it's like a year previously, and you're like, okay, I see how this goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't have a problem with it being boring per se, but like I like that sort of thing. So like it was like fine for me. I do feel like when I first started watching it though, it did seem like they were setting it up like they all weren't actually friends at that moment. Like it was like that this show was like actually like the start of them coming back together as friends, and they had been like drifted apart. So that was a little weird. Like, cause you were like, oh, are they just not together? And then like they slowly brought them in, and you're like, oh, they're just not in the same room with each other or whatever. And that kind of felt like a little odd. But like once like they started being together again, you're like, okay, this is cool and this is fine. And then seeing them like interact with other doctors around the hospital, and I really enjoyed like some of the, you know, when they were like talking to patients too. I thought that was like really interesting to kind of see what they were doing, because they all were doing a different thing in the hospital too. They're not just all the same type of doctor. So that I thought was a really good thing to see. Like you could be like, oh, so they're not just like always gonna be together because they work on the same floor. They're gonna be separated and have different things going on.
And the cast is fantastic.
The cast is great.
They got everyone. Like when those siblings were all coming in priest costumes, I'm like, seriously?
All the siblings.
Seriously? Are you kidding me? Like
they got her? Like, whoa.
They got
Well, and like every patient's mother or whatever was somebody, you were like, oh my gosh, like literally everybody is in this drama. Like
like it's just gonna be
it was like watching a BBC drama, like BBC shows, you know, there's like the 15 actors in England that do everything, and it was like that. You were like, oh look, everybody in Korea is in this show. Like, okay, cool.
I did feel like one thing they did backward was the first half. Every once in a while, like, a friend would ask another friend if they had communicated with a third friend. But since we weren't really introduced to them collectively, you don't even know which friend they're talking about. Like, you can kind of tell they're referencing a friend, and they say the name. And I understand because the language barrier is a little bit more difficult for us, but still, I felt like that was backwards because it was well before the group stuff. So like it was kind of weird.
Kind of almost like going into a second season of a show that like you don't actually need the first season, but it'd be nice to have the first season behind. You're like, oh, okay, it's gonna take me a little bit longer than someone else, and they're not gonna like spoon feed everything to me. But like I'm still like, I don't know what's going on before this.
Yeah,
and
but
so
like,
I'm a little lost.
By the end of the episode, you sort of got a handle
on
definitely. Everyone.
That's
so it's like it was like a little like, wait, who? And then by the end you're like, oh,
okay, that person. Gotcha.
All right, I got it. I got you, fam. I got you. It was cute.
I did appreciate at the very beginning when two of the friends pretty much encountered somebody that needed CPR for various reasons. And the way they were so calm about doing it, because I've seen my husband do that type of thing before, I liked seeing that on screen. And it's not that they're being cocky, it's just they do it well, and then like they get it going, like ambulance came, to do the report.
I just sort of liked how that all came around because it was like the very first scene of the show.
Yeah.
And she's sitting there and she's like, "Sir, I don't think you should be changing that light fixture. The breaker's still on. Sir, shouldn't you at least have gloves on?" And then he's like, "Oh, he just got electrocuted and had a heart attack." Okay, like,
Yeah.
like I did warn him, but it's fine. Whatever.
It was kind of cute when the paramedics came in that scene, and it was like, and she's telling them all the stuff, and they're like, "Oh, okay, are you coming in the van with us?" And she's like, "No, I got somewhere to be. This other doctor will go with you." And the guy, like, the other worker's like, "Wow, you were lucky to have that happen when 2 doctors were in the room." Like, yes, you were.
The OBGYN. Yeah.
I like him.
I like him too. He's so
like,
dry
I want to see
and,
more of him. He just amused me. I don't know.
Yeah.
His character is different.
He seems witty, but like, yeah, he's dry.
He's dry, like just sort of like he's what you would call like the straight man in a comedy like situation where it's like he's the one that sort of like says like that, like, you know, but that makes everything funnier around him.
Yeah, well, but he also needles people like really understatedly, like, no, this is what I want us to do the band thing. This is like that.
It's like, listen, I would love to come work at your hospital, but I only have one requirement is you all have to come hang out with me. That needs to be in my contract.
I
want my friends.
This deal.
Because he's like, he doesn't care if the band sounds good, which is why he's like, yeah, I know she's tone deaf, but she can be the lead singer if it'll make her come hang out with
have her.
Yeah.
I do think that's interesting. It's just the one female, and like they aren't playing that up, at least like right now. Like they aren't playing up that she's just the lone female. It's just that she's part of the group, and I really appreciate that.
Even when they met in college, I liked the dynamic.
I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
I thought that was cute because like they opened the door. They opened the door to the shed, and then there's already 2 guys in there, and they're like, and they're like, I don't know, like, is there gonna be room for us? And then they all get in. They're like, well, thank goodness, there's only 4 of us here, like, because I don't know if we could fit anymore. And then the door slides open. They're like, oh, hey, is there?
And then she's like, picture.
That was cute.
She's pretty much like, we're friends now. Like, this is the way it's gonna be.
So like, it's
kind of
really
cute for her to be like, she's like, this is our origin story, guys. And they're kind of like, we don't even know you. And she's like, this is it. This is the moment. We need a picture because this is the moment we all became friends. And they're like, do I even know your name? But okay, I'll smile for the picture. Like,
and I also really, really like the relationship between the mother and I guess he's the main character. I would say as of the one episode I watched, he seemed like he was the main character.
It's either him or the female. The
female
female
one of the 2
on the screen so much.
But him and his mother had such like a nice relationship, which you do not see that often.
For that, like,
and the fact that she sort of almost jokingly says like, oh, I did a crappy job as a mother because nobody wants to take over the family business, but like she's clearly not actually angry.
No, she's not like,
it's like she's like, I've got a kid who's a doctor and like 4 kids to join the church. Like I did my job. Okay. They're all happy and they're all good people. So like, what do I care?
And she's like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I didn't marry for love, but I think I made an okay go of it. Like, am I sad your father's dead? Yeah. Am I heartbroken? Nah. Like, I still got you. So.
He's like, TMI, mom.
And then it's like, and I do like how it sort of subverts like these like the corporate culture tropes too, where it's like every time you think that like someone's gonna be like the evil like businessman coming, it's like, no, she was friends with that guy. He wasn't going behind her back. Like,
it's not like super heightened.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's just like she's like, like, because if he wants to take over, like, let him take over. Like, because my son doesn't want to. What do I care?
Because I know for me, whenever like corporate stuff starts happening, I'm like, oh boy, like
here we go.
Like,
here we go.
Stressful, somewhat boring, creepy people. Like, who's it gonna be? But
Yeah.
like, it was nice to, or even the mom character.
Yeah, like somebody's gonna betray. Oh,
Yeah.
here we go. Uncle's gonna betray the family.
Or the mom's gonna be pushy and make everybody do stuff that they don't want. Like.
No.
You're gonna
There
fear
was-
that the mom's gonna kill everyone. Like, you're like, "Ooh."
There was none of that.
No.
It was just like, she's like, no, I'm ready to just go, like,
It's like,
retire
yeah.
to the country and be fine. Like,
I mean, there has to be this stuff because, this hospital's still running and, people need to run it. But, like,
she's
also,
like, but it doesn't, she's like, but it
it's
doesn't
gonna
have to be
happen.
me, and it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be you.
I've got the money. We'll just stumble through this and we'll get there. Like, it's so fine, guys.
Also, he would be a terrible director of a hospital.
Oh yeah.
He's like the most emotional man you've ever seen
Yeah.
in your life.
He's pretty aware of that. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
would not go well.
Not for me. Like, they kind of set you up to think that that's where it was going in a sense,
Mhm.
too, because, like, the uncle or whatever who takes over, like, his minions were like, are they going to try and make a bid for the company? And, and he's like,
Yeah.
it's fine. We're all good. Like, just chill
And
out.
Uncle,
Stop
he was
making
like,
it such a
listen,
big
like, I
deal.
don't wanna-
Like,
He's like, listen, Unc, I don't want to run this hospital. You don't want me to run this hospital. Like, let's just, like, come to an agreement about the hospital. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to keep working at the hospital. I'm cool. I just want to take care of cute little kids who break my heart constantly.
But also to do the thing with the beds, the VIP beds.
Yeah, the VIP
where, like,
beds.
they like transition that out of like the way that it's like just for profit for the hospital. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Where it's like they're going to use it to fund, like, poor people.
Yeah, like it was
Which
just
is
like,
nice.
was like only request was to it.
Yeah. He's like, listen,
and
I'll
then he
give-
gets all of his buddies to come work in the special VIP ward with him. Because,
Mhm.
hey, what's better than helping poor kids? Like, helping poor kids and hanging out with your buddies. So,
Yeah, that's right. But oh my goodness, that scene with the kid really broke my little heart.
yeah.
It was really sad.
It was
Yeah, like,
hard to watch.
I'm skating on thin emotional ice daily anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, I really haven't, like, immensely broke down at everything, but every once in a while it's been like, oh, it'll be a 1 or 2 minute of cry. So I got my 1 or 2 minute of cry
Mhm.
from that show. Like, yep.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like the moment that it happened. Like, spoiler alert, the
Well,
child
yeah.
dies. It was afterwards when he has to talk to the mother and she thanks him
She
for
thanks him.
trying.
that was like
Oh, God, I lost
You're like,
it.
oh my
And then he
God.
loses it, like, bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause
and
you
because he
expected it
sent
to not
the
go
kids
that
away.
way.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he sends the younger interns or whatever away because the mother's going to be emotional and she's going to yell at us and, like,
Yeah.
let me just take that. You guys go be somewhere else. And then she doesn't. She's just like,
Yeah.
thanks for giving me those extra months with my baby.
Yeah,
And
because
you're
like the setup being that she was always arguing with them and like complaining and whatever. And then, but that was just because she was scared that her,
Yeah, she was just-
she was scared for her child, but the inevitable. And then you see like the pictures of them like celebrating the kid's birthday and stuff, and you're like, no, cut, I can't, get out of here, no,
You know what it reminded me of? I like just remembered it because I like actually watched this like the day after it aired because I was still at work and I was actually working, but I was working on like fine detail painting, so I was like, well, I can watch a K-drama now. Also like knowing that like that was like my last day at work. It was a rough go. But like what it reminded me of is the first season of ER. Like if you've watched ER, there's like ER gets like really crazy and like off the rails towards the
Later
maybe
seasons.
midway and like
Mhm.
to the later seasons. But like the first seasons of ER really like honed in on the ER workers and their relationships and like the way that they handle things as like, from like a person who's been there for years and years and years to the interns that are coming in to like a new doctor and that sort of thing. And like ER definitely had more of a heightened thing because they were in the ER and because it's, a Western television show, but like some of the core personal relationships that are in those first seasons of ER are in this show. So it reminded me of that, and I was like, oh, this is kind of nice to see the humanity of the doctors.
Yeah. Because I'm gonna be honest, I prefer a show like this to like something like House. You know, like where it's like, oh, like jerk doctors always being right. Like, no, like this is more fun.
I don't know. I used to be hooked on House, so like
don't get me wrong.
I watch bingeables too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good bingeables. Yeah.
Yeah. What I appreciate about this show, so despite the fact that, it broke our heart a little bit, it wasn't as heightened. It was it was a step more towards slice of life, which for someone who is married to a nurse, an ICU nurse, like, I like that type of a tone to watch something like this. Like, a super duper heightened hospital situation, I don't need to watch that. Like, that's real life. Like, But, that step towards slice of life with the humanity and interpersonal relationships, and that's what makes it charming to me. Like, this is something that I want to watch. And, of course, the cast is, like,
fantastic. The cast is so good.
I don't even know how they got all these people to agree.
Yeah,
on the same
no,
show.
it's gotta be like, this will be a fun show. Oh, you only have to do it once a week.
And I'm also really intrigued by what's his face and his alcoholic girlfriend. I'm like really intrigued where that's going. Like, ooh, where are you going with this? Because I feel like something's going down with that.
Who knows?
But what? Who knows? Who knows?
I did like how it was obvious that some of them had relationships and stuff. So it wasn't, I'm married to my work. Because that's definitely a thing that comes up. Yeah.
It was like the OBGYN just wants to hang out with his mom and his friends, not be at work all the time.
Yeah.
The lady has like research and stuff that she's doing. Like, she has people outside their group. The main dude has Jesus.
Yeah.
The guy has his alcoholic girlfriend. The other one has a kid. They did not mention like a wife or anything, but there was a kid. So maybe there's some story to be had there.
I think there is a wife. I've seen some clips from this week. So I think there is a wife involved. So
some sort of mother.
Yes. This child did not come fully formed. She is not the child is not part of the priestly family's religion. So
no,
there's actually
this child comes from somewhere.
I will say, because it's worth noting, they do have a season 2 already listed on MDL.
Oh, interesting.
So I think
they're gonna
this
do
go
this
is
to us,
12 episodes, maybe.
I think it is.
I feel like it actually is like a good amount. Like it's past like 8. So I don't know how that affects things. I don't know, because it is actually a show that like wouldn't be terrible. Like I feel like it just doesn't have cliffhangers, so it's just gonna you would pick it up no matter what, and it's a show that would probably not rely on the first season. Kind of like the Doctor Romantic series. Or like even when you're watching like shows like our medical shows where like you could be in like season 3 of Grey's Anatomy, and even though like things happen, but like you could still watch season 3 and not be completely lost to what's going on.
They're like, okay, they're doctors.
Yeah.
Okay,
and they're
friends on. And they're all fucking each other. Okay, perfect. Grey's Anatomy. There we go.
Done. Got it.
Done. Okay, I'm in it.
I recommend it. Even
I liked it.
Oh, too, actually.
Like I honestly have not watched that many medical dramas whatsoever, but I still I think it's great. So
I personally did not really enjoy it that much. I enjoyed parts of it a lot, and I love the actors, but it also may be the stuff going on and the world that I'm in right now. If I had watched this 3 months ago, maybe I would have really enjoyed it. I don't know, but I think it's just
it was filmed,
not for me right now.
It was filmed before what's going on, so
that's true. So
there's probably no mention of any of that. So thumbs up.
I do, and I also really like that it is only 1 a week. I feel like I might not keep up with it if it's 2 a week, and that's saying I still haven't caught up from when I first watched it. I feel like the 1 a week is makes it easier and that it's shorter, that like it makes me want to watch it more than maybe if it was like a 16 episode 2 times a week. I'd be like, no, I'm gonna focus on Nobody Knows and then like binge a ton of J dramas, you know?
Yeah.
Well, especially with the episodes being long, right? Like with them being almost an
I
hour
was
and a
gonna
half
say.
long. That's a lot of commitment to make to 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
Some shows I'm totally fine with super long episodes. I would prefer this one to be a little bit more like an hour is what I would have preferred, but oh well.
I wonder if they're really trying to make it dedicated to being on ensemble cast as opposed to being like focusing on one character, so then that leads to the length of the show to get more screen time for every single person, since there is a pretty sizable main cast that could be really like focused on with different storylines.
Especially if they do start putting in flashbacks too. Like if they that'll be a thing as well. Not that it takes up a ton of time, but still eats away at it.
I hope I kind of do. I want to see them in school together, like, you know, because there's obviously they like probably were like they studied together and like you know something happened like with 2 of them at like one point in their career. And that would be fun. That'd be like a nice little break. Those kind of like comedy breaks I would really appreciate.
I agree. I want the more slapsticky stuff to go away, but I think the well-balanced comedy was...
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, I really enjoyed it, so I'll probably keep watching it.
We have the time now. Like,
we got literally nothing but time. Nothing but time. Oh God, we have so much time. Though it will be a sparse offerings. Let's just talk about what we're looking forward to seeing in good old April. The outdoors, probably not. Our friends, nope. However, there, are a few shows coming out soon. Not many, but a few. So let's see here. Starting on the 1st. Not starting the 1st. Starting on the 6th. The 6th? I have a little bit of a lisp, guys. The 6th. How to Buy a Friend. Yes. How to Buy a Friend. Yes. I don't know anything about this show.
I don't know.
The kid from... Okay, one of the puppies from Crash Landing on You is in it.
Nice.
The good-looking puppy?
Good-looking puppy.
Okay.
I believe it's high school. Based on the uniforms, it looked like it.
Okay.
And then a surprise little, what's the word I'm looking for here? Gift to all of us quarantined at home. Instead of releasing this film to theaters, the producers of Time to Hunt sold it to Netflix because no one can go to theaters anyway. So Time to Hunt is got a stellar cast. It looks like a wild ride. So that's going to be on the 10th. They're putting that up on Netflix. Even though there has been some sketchy situations, but it's not sketchy in the sense of like the actors or anything. It's sketchy in the sense of like business, which is like whatever business, whatever. Oh boy, I'm looking at the calendar and I still see where we're all supposed to be on a trip together. Sorry. Okay, so on the 17th, the King Eternal Monarch, the hoe is back.
Yeah.
He's gonna be hoeing it up. He's gonna be hoeing it up all over us.
Who's not gonna be watching that at this point? Like, we all are free, and so we're all
it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix, and it's like we've been, Well, personally, don't come for me, Lee Min-ho stands. I love Lee Min-ho. I think he's great. Do I think he's an amazing actor?
I like him.
You know what? Sky and I really, we bonded with him. We have, a shared love of him now.
I love him. I don't think he's as good of an actor as other actors, but I think he's really enjoyable, and I really enjoy him. So, no complaints about him. But he has his comeback show. Maybe we'll see some military bod. Who knows? Let's do a little eyebrow waggle. So that's coming out on the 17th on Netflix. So Netflix is just bringing us the juice. And the nice part about it is it was already filmed. So
Yeah.
Mm.
I think it's gonna
not
be like a good visual show too.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be pretty
It
epic.
looks
like
it's got
The
a
one
it's
literal
got some
sense.
poster
great
looks really cool.
yeah, it looks beautiful. It's got some great cast, and you know money's behind it because they're like, the hoe is back. Cleveland Hoe, he's returned. Okay, so on the 18th we got When My Love Blooms.
That's the one with the Got7 kid.
Yep. Bam Bam.
Okay.
Oh,
Jin.
Jin
Jin Young.
Jin Young.
It's Jin
I
Young.
don't know why. Listen, I
Did
don't know
you
why
say
I said
Bam Bam?
I don't know why I said Bam Bam. He
What?
doesn't
I
act.
was like, okay.
Like, literally, you said Got7 kid, and I was like, Bam Bam. Because, like, he's
Obviously.
my Got7 kid.
We might as well just say Jackson Wong at that point. Like, this
Like, no, because, like,
Are you
Bam Bam's
asking me
my
my
Got7
bias?
kid, so my brain immediately was like, Bam Bam. No, it's not Bam Bam. It's Jin Young. Bam Bam is not, he's not acting. He's just showing off his ridiculously long legs. That's all he does. So then on the 20th, we have Born Again coming out.
Which looks really great. Because this
Mm-hmm.
is the
Yeah.
Young and Lee So-hyuk.
Mhm.
Is that his name?
Yeah. And then on the 22nd on Netflix, we have finally Love Alarm Season 2, which means I'll finally probably watch Love Alarm Season 1.
But do we know that it ends at season 2?
See, we don't, so I might get hoodwinked yet again. We'll see. We'll see. And then also on Netflix on the 27th, we have Exemplary Detective. Great name. Big fan of the name. There's also one that says good casting. Is that another show, or is it just a comment about a show?
No, it is another show.
And then on Netflix is really bringing us the shows in April. It's the only one, because the last show announced to come out is on the 29th, and it is Extracurricular, which will also be on Netflix. Woo! Netflix.
Whoa. Let's go back just for a second to good casting. I'm going to read the premise because it sounds important. The drama is about once talented female black ops agents, I imagine.
Oh, I was like,
people who, and then they put in parentheses, people who work in espionage and must maintain a cover. For the NIS, who are now stuck at desk jobs. They must go undercover at a corporation in order to unroot corruption and leaking of trade secrets.
Oh, that's fun.
This is the one with Lee Sung-yeob.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And the top 3 casts are female in this, so this might be actually a really good one.
Could be good.
Interesting.
Im Yi-yeon is a single mom who's whip smart but struggles in her civil service exam because of her lack of coordination. She dreams of becoming an agent for the NIS while juggling work and raising her child. So that's the second part of it. So,
actually, I'm interested.
All right.
Yeah.
You got me.
Right.
You got
Jump
me
power.
intrigued.
Action, mystery, comedy, crime, drama, investigation.
Hey, that's
All
perfect.
right.
Also,
Done.
Say bad things.
another tag is doppelganger.
Oh, you're just piquing my interest right now.
Well, I think that just that moved up the list for all of us.
Yeah, we're like, oh.
Well. You learn something new every day. Well, that's it for April. Like, April's going to be a bit of a dry month, but you know what that means? That means that you, the listener out there, if you are also stuck at home like us, you have a chance to binge all those shows on your list that you just
down.
haven't been able to find the time. Like, ain't got nothing but time. Got nothing but time. Choose life, choose dramas, like
clear out that hold list that you've got in your
socially distance yourself into the world of television. That's our suggestion. Anyway, this has been another episode of the Certified Nunas. You can listen to us wherever you're listening to us now, but we're also on Spotify, Podbean, Apple iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and of course, all of our episodes are on our website, certifiednunas.com, where Jessie lovingly puts in a sprinkling of time codes and spoiler alerts and all the links to everything that we talk about that we can find. Because, our mouths wander. Anyway, if you want to support this podcast, even in these trying of times, go to ko-fi.com/certified newness to become an official sponsor of the podcast. And we love all of our sponsors so much. They're the best. Yay. Anyway, we hope that you continue to stay home and watch dramas instead of go out and spread diseases. So, wash your hands, and yeah, that's it. I think like everyone's telling I'm pretty sure Spotify told me to wash my hands this week.
Yeah,
I'm just
wash your hands.
I got like an email from like an online store being like, this is our response to COVID. I'm like, you're a furniture store. Like,
I know, every store. You're like, really? I don't. Okay, David's tea. Like, I don't really.
Yeah, like, okay, I don't need a little message about Corona from you, my dude. Anyway, we hope you have a fantastic week and stay safe and keep up the good work at staying home. All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.